Hey guys, today I'm going to do a review of the Yamaha EF2000is inverter generator. This is the version 2 generator, which is the current model that Yamaha makes. You can see that identified on the label. So the review, I'm going to show how the generator works, show you all the features, and give you some pros and cons that I think, and I hope you enjoy the video. So starting right here, you've got your pull start right here, which I really like. They've done a really good job recessing that. And another interesting thing is that this trim ring does feel to be made of metal, so I think that'll do a good job in case you are pulling it and it won't wear in the cover of the generator because the rope's only touching the smooth metal. So that's a pretty clever design. I like that it fully retracts in as well. You don't feel the starter handle at all, so if you're putting this in a tight space, this won't get caught. You've got an interesting outlet right here, 12 volts, 8 amp. So this is not for starting a car. It would not be enough power to do that, but you could use this to charge a battery quite quickly. It's a lot more powerful than your average trickle charger. One really nice thing that Yamaha does, they actually give you this kind of funky looking cord, and this cord will plug directly into this, into that plug. And now with these two connections, you can put this on your battery for your car, boat, any kind of 12 volt application that fits within that 8 amp hour rating. Next thing you've got is your two standard US 120 volt outlets. They're both conveniently placed right here. You've also got your parallel operation outlets. These would be if you were going to use two of these. Yamaha does make the ability to connect two of them together to double the output, so these are really handy to have. Yamaha also uses a manual choke method similar to the Honda model. This you pull out to engage the choke and push in to close it. I find that this, in my experience, tends to be better like this because it's very obvious that the choke is on or off, so that's a nice feature. A real hallmark to this model for Yamaha had been that they were the only manufacturer until last year that allowed you to switch the fuel off independently. So you have an off and an on, and this does not turn the generator on. This is just a fuel supply, and you can see the gas logo there. So this means your gas is off, and that means your gas is in the on position. So that's really nice at the end of the season because you can switch your fuel off and run the generator until the fuel is out. Now your carburetor is dry. So that's a very convenient feature that they've had for a long time on this series model. Next thing to be aware of is here. This is your on and off, stop and on. This is what is electrically going to have the generator be able to turn on or off. Some people have found this confusing because you'll tend to forget and leave this in the off position, and people will turn the fuel on thinking that the generator will start and it won't. So this is the price you pay to have these separate, but it really is a good idea to have them separated like this. Next thing you've got the economy switch, as Yamaha calls it. So you've got off and on, which makes sense. It makes it a little bit easier to follow than other manufacturers. So when your switch is in the on position, think of it as the economy mode is on. When it's in the off position, it's going to run the generator not in economy mode, which means that it's going to run on full power. Last thing you have up here is you've got 3 LEDs. You've got the AC light, which is green. When that turns on, that means the generator is working normally and putting out power. Overload light, which is going to tell you you've got too much of an electrical load on this and you may need to shut the generator off and restart it. And then the last is the low oil light, which is obviously very critical if that comes on. So this is a close-up of the gas cap, but more important is what's right here. It's actually a little tiny gas gauge. So Yamaha is the only major manufacturer that offers a gas gauge on a generator this small, so this is really handy. So now we'll spin the generator around. Yamaha does the maintenance panel a little bit different. So on the upper part of the unit, there's a small rubber plug, and that's to get access to the spark plug. And I do like that Yamaha conveniently labels what kind of spark plug you need right there. And this comes out. And right here, you've got the oil filler. And the small hose on the bottom is to drain your carburetor out. So to access Yamaha's service panel, you use a Phillips head screwdriver. There's 2 screws. So you can lose them, so don't be careless. And then to access this panel, you have to sort of get your fingernails under here, and you just gently pry, and the cover comes off. So the way this works, it's a friction fit. It's got tabs here to keep it aligned, but then it's got these little plugs that fit into these small rubber donuts in key positions that snap the cover on. So you see too that there's some nice insulation material here to keep the noise down. So your spark plug can be accessed right here. You can probably barely see my finger, but that's your spark plug lead right here. So you could put your tools straight down in. And to put this back on, it's a little bit of a process, but you have to work that rubber in. And if you press to one side and kind of go around in a clockwise motion, you can get this cover back on. All right, so we're going to close our cover back up. And again, the way you put that on is you're going to align these tabs with the ones on the bottom. And once that's in place, you push it in place. I've noticed that you do have to lift this up a little bit because the cover will kind of snag on it. But you give that a gentle push, make sure that's in place, and now we'll replace the 2 screws. All right, so I'm going to take you through starting up the Yamaha EF2000is version 2 generator, and then we'll do some sound tests. First thing we want to do is make sure that the vent on the gas cap is in the on position. I like that Yamaha makes this really simple because it's just a small arrow pointing to the word on or off. Now I found with the Yamaha that I tend to need to leave the choke on for a little bit longer than maybe a Honda, but not much. Depends on the outside temperature. Put it on economy mode. This should now be the quietest the generator will be, so let's look at the sound. Switch off the fuel first if you like, and that will stop the engine. Last thing to remember is when you're done, you want to make sure you turn your vent back to off. So that's the review for the Yamaha EF2000is generator. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I'd really appreciate it if you'd click the thumbs up and then also consider subscribing to my channel for more great videos.